They pulled up to my driveway in an unmarked SUV, two women in cheap-looking uniforms stepping out like they owned the block. HOA enforcement, the taller one barked, waving a laminated badge so fake it flapped in the wind. We have orders to remove firearms from this property for safety violations. You'll need to hand them over. My kids stood behind the screen door, watching, eyes wide. My wife went pale. The air went thick with something ugly. Fear and disbelief mixed together. I walked to the door and opened it just enough to hear them better. "You have a warrant?" I asked. The shorter one smirked. "We don't need a warrant. HOA rules allow us to confiscate weapons during investigations." Her tone was smug, like a judge handing down a sentence. Neighbors poked their heads out. Phones came up. The fake badge glittered in the morning light like a bad joke. My hands stayed where she could see them. "This is private property," I said slowly. "No court order, no warrant, no authority." She laughed and stepped forward. "You don't get to argue. We're doing this for everyone's safety. Step aside." Her partner reached for the door handle like they were about to stroll into my living room. My heart pounded, but my voice did not. "You step 1 foot inside without a lawful order, and you'll be detained." That made them pause, only for a second. The taller woman's face hardened. "We can call security," she said. "We can have deputies assist." I could see the cameras on their phones, the crowd growing. My wife gripped my sleeve with trembling fingers and whispered, "Do something." I looked at the women, then at my family, and at the safe bolted into the wall where my guns sat, legal, registered, locked. I breathed in. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't move fast, but inside, something old and trained clicked into place. The taller woman sneered, trying one last push. "Open the safe or we'll force entry." Her hand hovered over the knob like the whole thing was already hers. I stepped forward, calm and very direct. "You do that, and you'll answer to more than an HOA board." The smirk faltered. For the first time, their confidence slipped. They glanced at each other, at the watching crowd, at the thin line between bluff and disaster. The taller one clenched her jaw, trying to keep control of the scene. "We're not bluffing. The HOA gave us full authority. If you resist, you'll be fined and removed." She took a step closer, but I didn't move an inch. My voice stayed low, measured, steady, the way it used to sound in sand-blown deserts halfway across the world. "You just impersonated law enforcement," I said loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "That's a felony, and right now, you're standing on my doorstep, threatening my family." The shorter one shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the growing circle of neighbors filming every second. Someone muttered, "They don't look like cops." Another shouted, "That badge is plastic." The crowd began to murmur louder, their doubts spreading like wildfire. I tilted my head, staring right through the taller woman's glare. "You want to play police?" I said slowly. "Fine. Let me show you how the military handles an unlawful breach." That word, military, made her flinch. I reached into my pocket and tapped the comms app I never deleted, the one linked straight to my old unit's protocol. Within seconds, a coded alert pinged, and my phone chirped back with a sharp tone only someone trained would recognize. The women froze, realizing something real had just been triggered. "This house is under federal protection," I announced, projecting my voice so the whole block heard. "Step away from my door, now." The crowd gasped, some even clapping. The fake cops exchanged a look of panic, their fake authority crumbling in front of the cameras. My wife's grip on my arm loosened as she whispered, "They have no idea what they just walked into." The taller woman's voice cracked, though she tried to shout over the murmurs. "He's bluffing. Don't listen to him. He's just some paranoid vet trying to scare us." But before she could finish, the deep growl of sirens cut through the neighborhood. Real patrol cars turned onto the street, lights flashing red and blue. The fake cops froze, their plastic badges suddenly looking like Halloween props under the strobes. The sheriff stepped out, flanked by 2 deputies. He eyed the SUV, the uniforms, then me. "We got a report of armed impersonators. Care to explain?" The taller woman stammered, We're HOA enforcement. We have jurisdiction." She shoved her badge forward like it might save her. The sheriff snatched it out of her hand, turned it over once, and held it up for everyone to see. This is printed on laminated cardstock. He tossed it to the ground. That's not enforcement. That's fraud. The shorter woman tried to bilt, but 2 deputies grabbed her before she hit the sidewalk. The taller one's confidence shattered. Wait, you don't understand. We were just trying to keep the community safe. The sheriff raised an eyebrow, then looked at me. Sir, did they threaten to seize your firearms? Yes, I said, calm as ever. No warrant, no orders, just fake badges and intimidation. The sheriff's jaw tightened. Then this is impersonation of an officer, attempted burglary, and harassment. That's prison time. The crowd erupted in cheers, phones capturing every angle as the women were cuffed and pushed toward the cruiser. My wife finally let out the breath she'd been holding. Karen, the mastermind behind these two, wasn't even here, but I knew she was watching. And if she thought this was over, she had no idea what I had in store next. The cuffs had barely clicked shut when a familiar shriek cut across the street. Karen herself stormed out from behind the SUV, phone in hand, recording like she was the victim. This is harassment. These are my HOA officers. You can't treat them like criminals. The crowd groaned. Someone muttered, "Here we go again." Karen jabbed her phone at the sheriff. "You'll regret this. I'll have your badge revoked. We were enforcing safety codes. This man has illegal weapons in his home, and I have the right to confiscate them." The sheriff turned slowly, his patience thin. "Karen, you don't have any right to enter his house. You don't have authority over firearms, and you sure as hell don't get to create a fake police force." She scoffed, stepping closer. "You don't get it, Sheriff. The board gave me full power. I'm the HOA president. That outranks your little county badge." The crowd exploded in laughter. One neighbor shouted, "Karen thinks HOA is higher than the Constitution." Another added, "Put her in cuffs too." Karen's face flushed red. She spun toward me, spitting venom. This is your fault. You've been undermining me since day one. You think your little military background makes you special? Newsflash, you don't scare me." I stepped forward, meeting her glare with calm steel. "You should be scared, Karen, because what you just did crosses into federal territory. Impersonating officers, attempted seizure of private arms, that's not HOA business, that's prison business." The sheriff turned slowly, pulling out another pair of cuffs. "Karen, turn around." Her eyes went wide. "You can't do this to me. I am the HOA." The sheriff snapped back, his voice sharp enough to silence the entire block. "And I am the law." The crowd erupted again, neighbors cheering like a weight had been lifted off the whole street. My wife squeezed my hand, whispering, "She finally pushed too far." Karen's eyes darted wildly, desperation dripping from every word. "You idiots! You can't arrest me! I have backup coming, you'll see!" She yanked her phone back up and shouted into the speaker, "Code red! Move in now!" The crowd froze. For a split second, even the sheriff raised a brow. Then, from around the corner, another SUV screeched into view. 3 men in the same knockoff uniforms jumped out, puffing their chests like weekend warriors. One even carried a plastic baton from a costume store. Karen's smirk snapped back as she screamed, "You see? My officers are here! Sheriff, stand down or you'll regret this!" The deputies drew their weapons instantly, aiming steady. "Hands where we can see them." The fake cops faltered, looking at Karen, then at the sheriff's gun, then back at the cheering neighbors with their cameras rolling. The tallest one whispered, Karen, these guys are real cops." Karen screeched, "Don't you dare fold! You work for me! Arrest him!" She pointed straight at me. "Seize his guns!" That was the moment I stepped forward, calm as a storm before it breaks. My voice cut through the chaos like a knife. "Stand down. Military protocol is active. If you advance one more step, you'll be treated as hostile impersonators." The three men froze like statues. They weren't soldiers, and they knew it. The weight of real law and the fury of the crowd was crushing them. The sheriff didn't waste time. Drop the act. Hands on the hood, all of you. Deputies moved fast, cuffing the so-called officers and piling them against their SUV. Karen's jaw dropped, her voice cracking into a scream. "No, you're supposed to protect me!" The sheriff turned to her with a cold stare. "No, Karen, they're going to jail with you."